How's it going, everyone? Welcome back. Happy Friday. We've got hopefully an excellent show for you. I've got Colin back here. I think Neil may be joining us a little bit later as well. And a lot of fun stuff to talk about. So without further ado, welcome to the show, actually. Crypto Kong and Neil's already here. How's it going, gents?
Hey,
What's going on?
Whew.
How's everyone doing?
Doing well.
Neil ran here, it sounds like.
Yeah, I just got back from work, so.
Wow. Yeah, I was telling Kong you might come for the second half, and then I saw you pop in. Well, he's here. Let's do it. You can't make the show any worse, right, Neil? You usually make it better. Is that right?
I do my best.
That's the feedback you usually get. They're like, yeah, I like that guy. Yeah, so telling Kong too, the title of the stream, we'll get into a few different topics, but this is why PulseChain is different. Who wants to kick it off on for better or for worse? This has been fun times right now on PulseChain. What's the pulse? What's going on right now that makes you happy, sad, or otherwise?
I think to start off, some of the little more recent exciting news is RH coming in and buying. Well, we don't know if it's RH, but some those particular addresses coming in and picking up some more PulseX off the market. I saw there was some plays going on with potentially even swapping or selling some PulseChain and buying PulseX among some other things. So I guess maybe he's trying to move the ratio, and I don't know. It gives us a little bit of room to speculate a little bit. It seems like RH, like if you guys remember when PulseX came out, when it had all those, let's call them quirks with the V1 and V2, and you had
upgrades we got.
Yeah, the upgrades and everything, and like everyone hated PulseX, but now like especially with the more recent, let's call it Q1 market turnaround with PulseChain and stuff, when everything started to pump up, we saw PulseX really rip, right? Like I think it did over a 10x, and PulseChain did less than a 10x. So potentially maybe trying to move the ratios a little bit closer. I've heard people talk about PulseChain and PulseX parity. I'm not sure when or if that would ever be the case, but maybe something like this happens, especially with RH performing certain actions, maybe not influencing the market, and we don't know if it's RH again, but these big market makers, that's usually what they do, is they make the markets. So
Yeah, it just feels like it's been one of those times on chain where you hear a lot of things are getting built. Definitely feels like right now is everyone's like, this is the bottom, or and then kind of got the pump yesterday with PulseX, and then Ink. Funny enough, we got to see, and then here's just a bunch of different coins people are sending it to try to promote or otherwise. But let me just go Pulse real quick. Yeah. Oh, and we're back down. Actually, this was way before. This was way below the 4 zeros and 1 before. So there was some action, but doesn't look like it's stuck to. I bet this chart's messed up. Yeah, I need to reset the cookies on this one. Anyways, Neil, what do you make of what's been going on lately?
I mean, it's people, whoever it is, buying these tokens, and they see the bigger picture at play. I mean, I look at what PulseChain is and the price action we have. The market's down, but I think the market's down everywhere. It's still the economy's still in a pickle. The macroeconomics of everything. I mean, there's money that's being spent, and we have the ETFs and all these things, but the average person, average consumer is still struggling. So retail doesn't have a lot of money, extra money to spend. It's all going to groceries and fuel and whatnot, rent. So it's going to take some more macroeconomics to even allow people to have extra income to invest anyway. So those of us who are already in it, we sacrificed, and we have our positions, and if we have extras, we see the potential. But it's going to take more than just one person saving the day. It's going to take retail coming in really to push the chain to where it needs to be, and things that we're doing with Tetra and stuff. This Teller fork coming out, hopefully it'll entice new developers to come into the system to build on PulseChain.
Is that one of the biggest things too? I do think PulseChain, there's so many different things that are cool about it, but the different products we offer, not just there's plenty of, if you like DeFi products, we have plenty of forks where, you could be like, starting over. I wonder, the last one, if you like that chart, maybe there's something new on here, then just, you could have a lot of potential too. But even the new products Tetra. I mean, we got the gift tech stuff, which I've been fascinated with for a while now. Like being able to make PulseChain tokens deflationary, and a lot of stuff they've been building on that as well. Is we got the builders, the products. What we've talked about the opportunity. We talked about early ease type of narrative and stuff too. When the price is down like this, and we haven't seen retail come in and all that. What makes you be like, what do you guys fall back on? Be like, well, yeah, the price sucks from time to time, but man, there's so much. There's this thing or this thing or this thing. I'm like, yeah, it'll be all right.
One thing I think that helps, it might be considered like a coping, but it's just looking at the overall market and sort of like Neil was talking about, like even with the macroeconomics and stuff like that, and being like, well, if you look around, like interest rates are still extremely high. I don't think they've started cutting in the United States, so there's that, right? And usually, and like Neil was saying, like people, like if you want everyone to have the extra money to throw into PulseChain, you need everyone to have the extra money to throw into PulseChain. And I don't think it is a PulseChain specific issue that the market's dumping or like the altcoins are dumping. Even if I'll pull up the altcoin index here real quick, because I think it draws a good comparison to some of the just the macro market in general. But you can see here it is Bitcoin season, so we're completely, I'm gonna say, almost oversold on the altcoin index. So this isn't really like a pulse chain specific issue. I think pulse chain it almost acts like leverage, way more leverage than like you get traditionally like in some like Ethereum or like another altcoin that maybe has like a higher liquidity or higher market cap. So yeah, I don't think it is a pulse chain specific issue. What I do think is that when this alt season starts to turn around, you'll start to see pulse chain turn around more than some of these other alts. Because even if we're looking at things like Solana has still done pretty well so far, like it's still up over 10x from its bear market lows. But if I was to guess where or what coin would do more X's from here, would it be like Solana or PulseChain? I would probably put my bet on PulseChain just because you could still see here, like, what is PulseChain? It's maybe barely plus 50%, plus 40% from the lows, where Solana is like 10x off the lows. So people sort of get it twisted and they think when things go up, they're less risky, but it's sort of like the opposite. It's a little counterintuitive, but it also makes sense that when something goes up more, it's actually inherently more risky, right? And when something has been dumping, it actually makes it a little less risky because now you get to pick up the cheaper prices. And I think that is another thing when looking at like the recent, sort of the recent market and what's going on right now with PulseChain is a lot of people, not a lot of people, but I'm going to say some people, like they're going on vacations, which isn't bad. But potentially scooping up some of these coins at the lower prices, especially 3x lower than where we were 3 months ago. Potentially that could be an objectively good play. It doesn't really feel like it in the time, and that's sort of the point, right? Like if you're buying the lows, like it doesn't necessarily feel good, and if you're like selling the highs, like it doesn't really feel good to let go of it either. But that's sort of how the markets work, right? Like you have to go against the emotions and sort of put the emotions aside. So yeah, that's sort of my take on some of the market right now. Like maybe it is a little bit of cope, but I think a lot of things have gone down and retraced. Some more than others, but I mean we can see here the data is saying that it is not altcoin season, right? It was in January, and this is exactly when PulseChain started to take off. And I remember PulseChain had a little retracement, and then it started to make new highs again around here in March, right? Right around right before he started to tweet, and right around he started to tweet about EHEX and stuff. So I would watch this altcoin season index. It usually takes around 100 to 200 days to flip around. Um, you guys can do your own analysis and look from like peak to trough, how many days it was, and like it's not really like it's not an exact science, but it sort of gives you a general idea of the market. So yeah, that's sort of my take on some of the things happening right now.
Wow.
Yeah, and also, the comparison to Ethereum, with this may posted the number of days Ethereum ran sideways before it went up and did this major movement. We got to consider that when Ethereum did that, there were no other chains competing for market share either. There's a lot more chains now. So PulseChain is one of many EVM, chains out there competing for the market share from, the layer one, ROIs we're looking for. So that's something to consider too when you do our analysis. That it's hard to do an apples to apples comparison with Ethereum, though we're a carbon copy, because there's other things out there that are drawing people's attention to them.
Well, funny enough, the Ethereum, the gas fees were a problem, and now they're not really, or at least they aren't right now. Is that? And I was talking the other day with somebody about this. Is that because a lot of stuff had moved to layer 2 and it's just not coming back, or is that just because retail hasn't come in and we're going to have the same problems when they come back? What do you guys think?
I mean,
I think it could be
technically,
a little bit of both.
sharding hasn't opened up, has it?
Had the initial proto-dank sharding, I believe, was the last EIP that was supposed to help with it. But I think, funny enough, that only, if I remember correctly, it only helped L2s with that kind of stuff, which maybe that plays into it too.
Well, yeah. Now L2s are taking a lot of the volume, obviously to keep the load off of the main network. So, I think you have there's a lot of factors at play here. But at the end of the day, though, we have to ask ourselves, what do we have to offer that's better than these other chains? And that's where we have to really market it as builders and developers and users. Hey, look, we have a truly decentralized chain. Nobody can turn it off. It's worldwide. We have a lot of liquidity. It's secure. We have a decent bridge and everything else, and other features coming on board. Soon we have more on and off ramps and everything else. So, and we're just as fast. We're faster than Ethereum, and we have a lot of stuff being built on it that's really, really good DeFi products.
Do you have something? This looks like the new Look Into Hex website, CryptoKong. Is that right?
That is right. This is the new lookintohex.com if anyone wants to check it out. They updated it, so they have a lot of the PulseChain tickers on it as well. Sort of like how Neil was talking about, like comparing to Ethereum and like ROIs from launch and stuff. If we want to see similar things, and we're gonna need to like have similar things and like have the product market fit and have sort of have the narrative going for us as well. But one thing I'm kind of looking at is I think this is this should be BNB down here, and how it's I think it labels it as Ethereum, but I'm not exactly too sure if it is ETH, because I don't think it's quoting me. Maybe it is quoting me the correct price. Maybe it isn't quoting me the correct price. I'll just say it as it is here. I guess it is Ethereum. But you can sort of see here, like some of the PulseChain tickers look very similar to this green or yellow line graph here. It looks like we're having a similar retracement. Whether or not like we pull up, who knows? But something like this, like I would not be surprised. Like if we start to see like something like this happen, right? Where we have a little bit more dump, maybe, and then we just have like another wave, I guess. And there's lots of technical analysts on Twitter, Axis Alive, Hans Crypto. Those guys do TA on PulseChain, and they've been saying similar things the past couple of days. Like it looks like there's divergences, or there's things sort of getting ready, and there's technical data to look at that kind of shows us that maybe PulseChain is starting to turn around soon. Whether or not that happens, no one really knows. But I mean, so far, like for the past 3 months, it's pretty much done like a downwards parabola, which is it's not really a normal. I don't know if that's a normal chart phenomenon, but I wouldn't be surprised if it starts to round off, maybe accumulate a little bit, and maybe we pull up from there. But in terms of liquidity and stuff as well, I'll pull up some of the bridge statistics. I'll have to share my screen a bit differently. Here's the bridge. When we're looking at like the TVL and stuff, there's 60 million stablecoins across this bridge. So when we're talking about liquidity, like I don't, this is not an objectively bad number. Like we're probably gonna get this up to 100 million. I would hope this year, uh, assuming that like maybe some retail, maybe there's some big wallets out there that start bringing in stablecoins. But having this much liquidity, um, is actually quite good, especially right now. The liquidity is quite thick, even compared to 3 months ago. Like it hasn't retraced as much as the price has. This is good because if people want to get out, they can get out, and their Pulse or their PulseX is backed by plenty of stable coins. And let's say we want to turn the market around. Let's say I'm the market maker, I'm providing liquidity, and I want to start to pump the prices. Like I want to accumulate, I want to buy a whole bag, I want to buy a stack, right? So I can take out some of my liquidity and I can start buying, and this thins up the pair to make it easier for price to go up. So I wouldn't be surprised if we start to see some of the liquidity leave the pairs, but not necessarily leave the chain, and some of that being injected into PulseChain. And then potentially after the price is pumped, I wouldn't be surprised if the liquidity starts to thicken up again to give it essentially bid support at whatever new price we're at. But this is one thing I'll be watching, even in the past couple of days. Like it looks like yesterday when we had PulseX pump, it looks like we're still having negative bridge outflows. So I don't know. Still waiting for this to turn around. But what I will say is once we start to see like these big spikes, I think it's time. Like I think it's pretty much time at that point. That's what we've seen in the past. Like this was right around the time PulseChain was pumping. Even if 2023 10, I think this was near the bottom. So people were picking it up. But yeah, I'm waiting for this bridge to start picking up in some of the inflows and stuff, and I'll know that it's time for PulseChain to start kicking up. But it looks like there's still people that want to sell, and I think like that's perfectly fine because the more believers you have when the price is going up, like if everyone who thinks that PulseChain is only going to, let's say SAC price is already sold and they have already left their bags, and the only people that are left are people that believe it's going to a dollar for whichever reason, that's just what they believe, then chances are the price will go higher just because they're not going to be selling at SAC price or at double the SAC price because they believe it's going to a dollar and that's where they're planning to sell. It's probably like sounds a little bit weird, but it is kind of the truth. Like where it's people who make the prices, right? Where the market believes the price should go. It doesn't mean it has to go there, but people tend to like they hold the bags, right? So that's just a couple of my thoughts on some of the bridge and the liquidity and stuff like that. So
Neil, any thoughts on I'll bring up this comment in a moment. I think it's interesting to riff on, but yeah, the bridge, yeah, win inflows, Dev, win inflows.
Yeah. Well, I mean, maybe people also waiting for a better place to put their money too. Where can you earn yield? And so, I mean, because we're down and depressed, a lot of the yield has been dropping off the percentages and stuff. So unless something new comes out, it's got a high APR, but those usually last a couple of days. The best you're going to see is around maybe 50 to 120, 150% typically APR most of your stuff. I mean, right now I think the Ink Farms is like 70, 80%, the biggest one. But then you suffer from permanent loss because you're losing your Pulse. So it's just one of those things. I think as people want to participate in DeFi, where's our money being treated best? And as soon as we get through with our tools and are out, and we have automations and we have an on-ramp we're working with too shortly through Tetra, and then the Teller fork, which will make other products be able to come to market, unless Fetch gets there too. But we don't care. We're of the opinion the more the merrier. Two oracles are better than one. But those are the things will hopefully grease the wheels of the chain, so to speak, to get us a little bit more action, a little more opportunity for the average investor to put their funds to good use.
Got a comment here from Mark Wilson. The delusion continues. Here's an interesting point to think about too. You know, I think a lot of it depends. Have you been here for a while? Have you not? You know, do you believe in RH, its mission stuff? Are you just coming here to make money and extract value? Are you here just to have a good time? And you know, the price is down, so that makes it harder to do stuff like that. I think a lot of people hear different reasons, all that stuff. I don't blame anyone who's like, oh, this sucks right now, or totally ignoring it, just being like, yeah, I'm just gonna go build stuff, or I'm just gonna, you know, like I don't need the money right now, or I can, you know, I can wait type of stuff too. What reason? I guess one question that comes from this too is, first of all, are we all delusional? And second of all, what reason do people have to come to PulseChain now? And what reasons are we missing for them to come that we think they're going to come later when retail comes in? If we got all the pieces, you know, for them to flow in through exchanges, bridges, you know, maybe faucets, different stuff like that, you know, where are they going to flow to when ready?
Well, they're going to need some place to, you know, to earn yield. I mean, unless they're just going to chase meme coin pumps or whatever. I mean, they're going to have some place to park their assets to earn yield, and that's what you want to have. And so, building tools to do that is important. And we have some things out here now that do it. We have, you know, lending platforms. We have just, you know, farms, stuff like that. We just need more of it, I think, and we need more of the things to, you know, help people compound. Hopefully, you know, people will see the value of automation and how they don't have to be watching the charts all the time, stuff like that. We'll be able to double your pulse here in a couple of weeks. We're almost done with that. We're in testing right now with our True DeFi stuff. So there's a lot of things fixing to happen on this chain that people just aren't quite aware of, that I think will make people, hey, look, you know, I can earn more tokens and make more money over here if I use these products and services.
We got yield. We got, price go up. I think that, you know, of course, Green Candles tries to attract a lot of people, opportunities for what they're interested in, whether it's meme coins or DeFi or, like I said, the different, maybe just community. I think there's been definitely a lot of communities built over PulseChain of the last year or so too. Yeah. Kong, what do you think about, what does it take to really, you know, to stick around, and what does it take to just be like, you know what, I believe their glory will come one day. Like how do you feel about that?
I think at the end of the day, it's up to your conviction and however you've built that up. Some people, I know some people who believe in, maybe they don't believe in PulseChain to the extent some other people, but they believe in PulseChain. They haven't done much research. They don't really know the whole background story, but they sort of get the narrative. But they have some conviction set, right? Does that make you delusional? Like maybe a little bit. I think it depends on the price. Like if the price was new all-time highs every single day, I don't think we'd all be delusional. We'd be probably considering ourselves geniuses for this sort of thing. So yeah, I think at the end of the day, it really depends on price and stuff and where it's at, and like market sentiment and stuff. But in terms of in yourself and your conviction, I know, like I've studied a lot of RH. I know RHMax has studied a lot of RH. I bet Neil for T shares has studied a lot of RH. So I get a lot of his principles and a lot of his values. And I think the saying is, Richard Hart was right. And I was just the other day, I was going back and I was looking at a couple of his streams, and a lot of the information is timeless, and it's almost like it's in foresight. Like it's timeless, and he's already said the correct thing in foresight. And when you're watching some of the things in hindsight, you're like, well, that was absolutely correct. Like he'll brag about it too, right? Like I called the top on the day. I told you FTX was gonna fail. I told you Celsius was gonna fail. I debated what was his name, Machinsky? What was it?
Machinsky. You got Tone Vays. You got a lot of people who's debated and came out pretty well.
Yeah. So, and I think we are missing like a Richard Hart debate. I was even going through his Twitter and I was going in his account, and he was like surprise stream today, and he just tweeted the YouTube link, and like
So
that kind of stuff. Like yeah, like I think people forgot about that. So he'll be back, I think, and I think he says it best. The blockchain is free speech, and that's how it should be treated. And I think whoever that address is performing certain functions, I think it's people have said it even on Twitter. Like I think it's him trying to communicate through the blockchain using free speech, right? Like telling us like, "Yo, what's up?" Things like that. So potentially, yeah, maybe maybe the delusion does continue, but I think it's just up to the own person and their conviction, and like, and it is a little bit of like a sunk cost fallacy where like maybe a little bit, but like after you've been here for so long, you've kind of picked up on a lot of things, and like you can almost maybe you can't predict the future. You can almost see where things are going, and if it doesn't work out, like it doesn't work out, like hopefully you learn from your mistakes. Like even Sami has said things like that. Like he'll say things and he's like, you guys should have learned from that, by the way. And it's a good point. So yeah, we'll see. Like I think if the price turns around and we're new all-time highs every single day, then the delusion would be that like we're all geniuses basically. So and it would just be a different one.
I think I was thinking about that earlier today too. I was just like, crypto in general can change so quick, but also like this conversation we're having, if we had some green candles, we could totally be having a conversation of, oh, everything's good. Things are chugging along. We look at all the inflows, look at all the things, look at all the new people, look at all the. Of course, the building worked. Of course, when we got everything primed and we have all the on ramps and we have everything working, of course, everyone comes in. It could literally, like a month from now, we could be having a completely different conversation. So I think, a lot of the sentiment is just the price, is just the candle colors. And that's why I try not to take it. I mean, I use it for good information, but I try not to take it too seriously, because I think, I wouldn't be here if I was only here for the short-term price gains. I think I wouldn't be here. I wouldn't still be here. I wouldn't be streaming all the time. I wouldn't be building services and contributing as much as I can either. So I think there's a little bit more to it.
And
Well, also too, we also as a community are building out the chain ourselves, right? As builders and developers, it's up to us. RH gave us the sandbox to play in. Here we are building on it. And he may come up with his own things too later on. I mean, by providing PulseX and stuff that was beneficial, we needed. But I mean, look how much we built as a community. How many products, and we know that how many sacrifices were out there for all these different things. Some good, some not so good, but we are doing it ourselves, and it's up to us if we want this thing to succeed. At the end of the day, we're going to have to do it and support each other and push these quality products and services and advertise them and talk about them, so retail and the average consumer can come to PulseChain and enjoy, the DeFi services we have to offer.
I think that was one of my biggest things is the community is still here. I think I think I bring this up almost every single time, but like there's still like there's probably infights and like things that like dramas and like things that happen in between the community, but it definitely looks like the community is still there, and we're still probably one of the most active communities on Twitter. Even the most of the retail, it doesn't even look like is in crypto yet. I'll see if I can find the statistics in a little bit, but it was the YouTube viewers and YouTube subscribers, sort of like crypto channels and stuff like this, just monitoring how much attention some of the channels are getting, and it's still quite low. I'll see if I'm pretty sure I have the charts saved somewhere. I'll see if I can pull it up, but retail is not here yet, so it doesn't look like it's like you have to have the perfect storm, right? And right now it doesn't look like the perfect storm is here yet, but it looks like there might be some clouds in the distance, right? So we'll see. Another thing is like Neil was saying, all the builders, like there's teams like the sacrifices and like teams like Liquid Loans. I believe they still have all of their SAC money still sitting on chain. It might be in different addresses or something like that. I'm not exactly sure of all the details, but as far as I know, go ahead.
It's not.
It's not.
No,
I was
it's
told
been
by
spent. Some's been spent, and they had to spend some. Obviously, they had to develop it. So it takes money. But it's just, but they haven't deployed it though. That's the thing. What's left over has not been deployed, just sitting there, right? But that's okay.
yeah,
It's their business. We all sacrifice and put our money in. No expectations.
and that is the thing. Like I think and all the RH money is still on chain. Like it's funny the D Bank profile as well. And I do like a lot of the memes on PulseChain as well. I think it brings a little bit of a happy sentiment. Maybe not all of them are all happy and jolly and like just like net positives, let's say. But I do think memes as a whole, like if you were to generalize them, aren't like a terrible thing for any layer one blockchain. So yeah, that's sort of my take on it. Is I think like it looks like the community is still here. Like definitely still like tweeting about it. RHMax is still here. That's probably your best indicator that like the community is still here.
Don't
So
make me an indicator.
Yeah.
I think if I go on vacation for a week, I don't want people being like, oh, is this the end? I don't pretend to be that important, but it is. I think streaming in general tends to. I don't know. I don't want to get into it. I'll say I don't blame anyone for taking a break. I'll say that.
yeah,
Yeah,
I don't want to throw you under the bus either.
you go to vacation, it's ultimate bottom signal.
It's like
Yeah.
when Sami doesn't post a video every hour. It's like, oh my god, what is happening? It's like,
Sometimes
is the
when I
world
don't see
ending?
the 3 videos a day, I'm like, is everything okay? Like
That happened to me
no,
once. I was like, I need a Sami video. Why hasn't he posted?
every once in a while, yeah, I think it
Yeah,
does take a break, but I'm kind of feel good. I feel like my first instinct is like, oh, okay, and then I'm like, oh, I'm glad he's. Please take a break. Like, I'm sure everyone needs a break every once in a while. Anyways,
yeah.
question from Fox Mulder here. I don't know much about this one. I think I just heard a little bit on Twitter back and forth. There's different views on what's being communicated with the 5555 PDI transaction. What are y'all's thoughts? Y'all have context on that? You know anything about it?
I think there was a sell for 555 PDI, and I think it was buying PulseX. Um, maybe there's more details that I'm missing or something. My thoughts on that. He's probably trying to say something. I don't want to read into it too much. Whatever he's trying to say, I think people will spin whatever narrative and like create whatever story they can. But I don't think I don't think he hates PDI either. It's cool that he chose 5555 or whoever the address was chose 5555. And he also tweeted about it as well too, right? So I wonder there is the speculation. I think everyone's heard it at this point. The speculation of the pegging of PDI, but I don't know if that has anything to do with that. I try not to read into it too much. I prefer to just look at the price. And I don't think the price has actually done too much. I think it might be dumping from that. So maybe the market didn't actually read it too well. So
Gotcha. Oh, I know, Kong, you wanted to talk about some different scam. Funny enough, I did a video on Amazon, the Amazon crypto scam stuff that I saw going around. It's been in the comments a lot. I don't know if you guys noticed it on your videos or otherwise, but it was like that. They use whatever name, they change the name every once in a while, and it's like this Amazon crypto ICO scam stuff. And then, anyways, that reminded me of Kong was talking about. I think you wanted to speak to some different security, not get scammed type of conversation.
yeah, I think I wanted to talk about just I think these are core RH values. It's just getting the best deal, storing all your value, and not getting scammed. And I think if you watch enough RH streams, you'll hear them yell at you not to get scammed. You'll hear them yell at people like, why aren't you getting the best deal possible when you could do that? Like, why are you using MetaMask swap if you could do like a gasless transaction on 1 inch, for example? And like why are you people like just giving your money away, right? Like why why? So the scams like I'm sure you guys have had it too, but I've had plenty of people come up to me or DM me and like mention how they got scammed. And sometimes they're quite sophisticated, right? And you'll see RH always talk about in his tweets as well, like this is the end of the thread. Any comments under this are imposters. People will fall for those imposters, and they will go claim their free hex airdrop somehow, and connect their wallet, and it's do not connect your wallet to anything. If a website you're connecting to is asking you to sign, unless you know exactly what that website is and what you're going to be doing with, if it's a legit thing and you really trust it and you got it from a good source, then sure. But most of the time I'm not signing any websites to connect. I'm not connecting my wallet to almost any dApps. If you guys are also paying attention, there's lots of new tokens that get launched on PulseChain. Majority, and this happens on every chain. It's not only PulseChain. Happens on Ethereum. Happens a lot on BSC. You'll see people launch tokens and then they're rugged within 24 hours. I think people like, if you want to snipe, it's perfectly fine. I'm not telling anyone what to do with their own money. But definitely think about like sort of your risk to reward, like how much you're actually putting in, how much that could potentially make you, and always remember that like doing a transaction for like a $10,000 takes the same amount of effort to do the transaction for $10 or $5. And after you've done like, I don't know, 2,000 transactions, like the time it takes starts to add up. And I don't know if it's worth the time to like snipe brand new tokens that majority of them get rugged. And then even if there is good ones, usually you have zero point 0.3 milliseconds, 'cause there is people that snipe them. Usually you have 0.3 milliseconds to get in, or it's like practically too late at that point. So unless you have like 3 computers or like a bot and 3 computers, then chances are like it's not really gonna work out too well for you. Or Tetra, right? Some sort of like, yeah, some sort of bot or service to help you out. And then I'd also say like don't ape into random things that like you have no idea, especially if they're new. Like check whoever deployed the contract. If it's a brand new address and they just loaded up exactly enough money to provide liquidity, and there's not even like, let's say 7,000, like if there's not $7,000 of liquidity, you have to really question what that coin is. Like, and 7,000 is even a very extremely low number. But it just, it's a good rule of thumb. If someone's making a brand new address with deploying contracts, and they put less than $7,000 of liquidity, it's pretty much a lot of red flags. And like you could probably make money on something, but chances are like it takes, like I said, it takes the same amount of time, energy, and effort to do a transaction for a little amount than it does for a large amount. And yeah, like getting the best deal, not getting scammed, and just storing your economic energy. Like lots of these tokens, like especially recently, right? Like maybe it was a little bit different 3 months ago, or when everything's popping and when PulseChain's pumping and everything. But right now, like I think people are just, they're looking for like a grift, and an easy way to do that is rugging people just on any chain. So just be wary of like whatever your actions are on chain, whatever you're doing, and be careful of like whatever links you're clicking on. You don't want to get scammed. And also, I want to say this is not less important, but the other two things are probably a little bit like more important, just like not throwing your money away, but also just making sure you're getting good deals on some of your swaps and stuff, because there is a ton of different options on PulseChain. I think a lot of people like Pidias, and I think I like that one as well. I recommend Pidias to a lot of people. I know, doesn't Tetra have a swap as well? And
yeah, man, we have Omnis. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
aggregating through all the dexes now, so you can swap and get, you know, comparable or even better rates sometimes, depending on the token. We have all the dexes on Omnis, even the ones that Pidias don't use.
Maybe a great side thing just to talk about the compound limit order. I know Colin might be interested in that as well.
Yeah.
Okay, so all a compound limit order is basically an automated swing trade. So you can have token A to token B to token C, which could be token A again. It doesn't matter. It's up to you. And you can set it up, and it'll deploy based upon the slippage and stuff, and it's got stop loss feature and everything. So It's a very powerful tool, and people who really want to like ratio trade between things like Pulse and PulseX, it's an ideal tool if you want to grow your bags with very little risk. You see, and it's I don't know why most people aren't really thinking about it, but you could use these tools to grow your Pulse and PulseX bags. You set up two different complementary orders, one with Pulse as a start, and you end with Pulse, and you go to PulseX in the middle and do the reverse on the other one, and just let your bags go to work and set your ranges where watch the chart and see what's been bouncing between, and you can pick up extra tokens. It's very, very easy.
So is this automating swing trading?
Yeah, it's all it is. It's automated swing trade. It's all it is. So when you have wick up and down, you have some volatility one day or a lot of volume, you can easily rack up and get and increase your bag size by doing this. With things like Pulse and PulseX that are bonded together and they kind of move in ranges and back and forth. You do it with stables or anything like that. Or if you just want to or you can go from, if you want to go say Pulse to PulseX to Ink, if you think you can catch that deal, if you think it's going to kind of go that way or whatever. I mean, it can be anything anybody wants to do. Or go PulseX to die if you want to get out, let's say. You see? So these are just tools that we've built and allow people to use to really benefit their, if they want to trade a lot and not to worry about the charts. They can set it, forget it.
So that's an extremely good tool, right? And it sort of goes into like what I was talking about as well. Like there's other ways there's other ways to make money on the blockchain, and like there's ways to get good deals, and you just have to look around for them. It's pretty much all, right? Because I don't know if I haven't heard too much about Tetra as of recently. I think it was really popular. It was really popular before, but if you guys are paying attention, if you guys are looking around, like you can find products and services like this. And I believe this is a new feature, right? Compound limit orders.
Yes.
So,
right now it is only doing it through PulseX DEX. We're going to turn all the DEXs on here shortly. Right now the swap feature is for all the DEXs. It does it all. It aggregates all of them. But the compound limit order right now is only on PulseX at the moment because we're making sure there's no technical issues. It's a lot of work, okay? Because how we're getting the data is all our data is coming directly from the DEXs itself. So we're not using a third party service or anything or any Oracle to get the data. It pulls it directly from the blockchain in the DEXs. We know the price instantaneously, and it displays it. And it's so fast we actually had to meter and slow down so that the UI could keep up with the information, so people had time to click the button stuff. So yeah, that's where we're at now. So very shortly we'll have all the DEXs integrated, so your compound limit orders can go through the entire chain, and you can set up limit orders and to your heart's content.
This is a great product, and I think it's unique to PulseChain as well, right? Because we have lots of different DEXs. I think there's a couple different aggregators. There's a couple different bargaining protocols. But this looks completely unique. I haven't seen compound limit orders anywhere else on PulseChain that I know of. So
no, you won't. I mean, we're the first. I mean, with this now, I think 9inch had limit orders, but it was limited to their own DEX. Which was pancake swap fork. But this is for the chain. So we've worked really hard, and student team and dev they put a lot of time in this because this is the tool that will allow the automation to happen. People can understand this has to be finished 100%. So then we can just turn on the automation services, and then people can automate this to the heart's content as well and put all the stuff in action. Anything all the videos I've done and all the strategies and things we've talked about in the past can then be brought to life.
Okay, cool. Kong, do you have something to show on this chart?
I was just kind of overall looking at the chart. We could probably draw some Fibonacci's and stuff like that if we wanted to. I think it's a little bit it's kind of fun. So here, just did the same mistake twice. There we go. So yeah, this looks like we can see it retrace down here, like below the 0.236. And even if I flip this around again, Let me take a look at the retracement. Yeah, we can see here it came below the 786 and the 1.0. So this is actually a good range if you're just looking at purely Fibonacci's to start to get back in and accumulating PLS. If we want to look at price targets, we can see here like the 0.618 is 3 times sacrifice price. So I've no idea when a time frame when this could happen. But if you're just looking at purely Fibonacci's, this could potentially be a price target to look at. And again, looking at the Fibonacci's, like it looks like we're in a reload zone as well. So definitely looking good. Look, like I don't think this chart's technically bad. I think we might run into some sort of problem if this breaks down lower. Like we have like a big red candle, that might be a problem. But if it wants to just hold and accumulate here, I don't see an issue with PulseChain doing something like that. Another thing is too, this is sort of something interesting that I came across. If we're looking at the withdrawals, there has cumulatively been over $1 billion withdrawn from this PulseChain bridge. And the same is true for the deposits as well. There's been over $1.26 billion deposited in. But I just think this is interesting to kind of show like how much volume has gone through these bridges. If you guys look at some of these L2s, the bridges do almost zero volume, and that could have something to do with there being on more exchanges and having like more direct on and off ramps, and like maybe people aren't using the bridges as much. But either way, like the PulseChain bridge, it looks like it still does quite a lot of volume compared to a lot of L2 bridges. I'll see if I can pull up the L2 bridge stat. I might have it saved somewhere, but that is an interesting thought to me. Like we'll start to see, like it seems like $1 billion has already left the chain. Again, like $1 billion has also been brought in, but how many weak hands are left, right? Like I think like usually people like to sell bottoms, like especially the non-believers like to get out at the bottom, like it's like cutting their losses short, right? Even though like you've sold the bottom. And RH talked about it as well, like people instead of buying the bottoms and selling the tops will buy tops and sell the bottoms. So
Yep.
we'll see what happens, but I don't know, the market sentiment even for PulseChain, I think a lot of people are depressed. So and it all changes with green candles, and how that happens, I'm not really too sure, but I don't think things are looking like objectively like horrible for PulseChain. Is the whole point. And I think like the people are still here, and it's really like the market that dictates the prices, right? And like if we're dumping, like it's gonna be the community that's like buying the bottom, right? Like the people that actually believe, and it looks like we still have the community. And yeah, so like we'll see how this thing plays out. But either way, I think like it'll be a good learning experience. Like whether PulseChain does a million X, or if it just does a 5X, or maybe it does like a 2X or something. I don't know, but
yeah, I'm looking for, I mean, retail, of course, ETH price go up. We got the ETF hopefully coming up in a couple weeks. Maybe some regulation stuff. We got the, if we get the presidential candidates fighting over who could be more pro crypto, that may be lead to something cool. Never thought I'd say that before.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, the outer forces, the politics and the economies, all that plays a part in all these markets. I mean, no matter what market it is. So, I mean, there's already a lot of money in a place, and it's scattered around. It's hard for any one thing to be pulled up until you have more money coming through. Being the stock market and all these other things, they suffer from the same type of cycles and stuff. So it's nothing we shouldn't be surprised. It's just that we kind of have things we can kind of look at. The biggest difference between us and every other chain is we have RH, right? It's his chain. It's his ego, right? I say that not in a bad way, just the fact that he is a very glory-centered person. He wants the glory to make something successful. And so, which is good for us because he's sitting on a lot of cash, they could really pump the chain. And he said so in the streams that he could do what he wanted. He's got plenty of capital. And not to say we necessarily need his capital to be successful, but that'd be really nice, or like a cherry on top to make the chain even more successful than it is. I think though, at the end of the day, though, it's going to be up to us, the builders and the community, to come together and provide things for us all to enjoy and use. And though I know at the end of the day, the whole trading concept is a PvP game. I know that, but I think this days we could probably all not be so, I guess, antagonistic with each other, not just in community, Twitter, but just in the sense of how we play the game itself and what we use and stuff which we build. So I'm hoping people realize that they can make money by just parking their funds in and basically use tools to extract value responsibly over time, and not to worry about the chart so much.
I think just at a philosophical level too, would you rather be a lottery ticket winner, or would you rather contribute and win and like learn along the way and like see that you had a part of success of an ecosystem like this? Like, which one are you going to have more personal growth for? Which one would you maybe feel prouder over? Would you rather just come in? Everyone's like, okay, give me the easy money type of thing too. But really, if you think about it, I don't know, maybe I'm just alone in this. I feel like I would. It's kind of like that, being a self-made person, self-made man versus just inheriting money. Which one, if you had to choose, one's a easier path, one's a harder path. Maybe we're just on, with no choice. Maybe we're just on that harder path, but over time it'll turn out to be like, oh, that was like the one where we got the most out of it, type of thing.
Yeah, I don't think crypto is necessarily meant to be easy. Like sometimes it can be a walk in the park for some people, but most of the time, like especially like you were saying, like I think like we have especially recently, like a more difficult scenario. It's quite. I think I'll have to think about that a little bit more, but yeah, maybe if I'll jump on top of if Neil has anything to kind of add on top.
Okay.
Neil's like, just give me the easy money, man. I've been here long enough. Give me the easy money. I'm good now.
Well, so if you're in crypto, we're all in crypto to make money. So the question is, how do you want to make it, right? That's the question we have to ask ourselves. How do you want to make the money? You want to come and buy meme coin and 10,000 X's and you sell the top, and you're the smart trader, right? Those are very few and far between, right? They can happen. Some do. I mean, if you're like you said earlier, if you're 0.3 milliseconds beginning, it'll work for you. But the average person is not going to get into that, right? So if the average user, they want to use their money wisely. Hopefully these people come in, they look at crypto as an investment. At least that's how I looked at it as an outsider looking in. How can I make my crypto work, my money work for me? And I think that's where we'll win over here on PulseChain, and we will do better than like Solana's, let's say, we're just a meme coin factory, right? There's no utility over there, because we looked at even building over there on some stuff for true DeFi, but we're limited. I mean, there's only so many things you can do. So it's this stuff like that makes a difference. And so having a better quality chain that's truly decentralized, run by the community, is a much better narrative than anything else out there that exists. Because it can't be turned off. So like the Binance was turned off. Ethereum can be monkeyed with. All the validators have been consolidated. Solana doesn't work half the time. You get all these other issues, and so I think it's a step in the right direction. And I think a lot of the PulseChain people, it seems to be what the vibe I get is they're very libertarian minded. They want freedom, right? They want to control their own currency, be their own bank, and all this concept. I think that also lends it to that idea lends itself to a larger variety of people out there who are so disgruntled by the fact that their money's worthless because the government just printed billions of dollars out of thin air a couple of years ago and made everybody's grocery bill double.
Yeah, I think. Go ahead.
It reminds me of the article. I saw it on Twitter. I think it was on Tuesday. Why I don't feel bad for hex investors. I think it was CoinDesk, and it was posted on like Nasdaq's website. Did you guys see that article?
No, I didn't see it.
I'll pull it up actually. Yeah, it was on the Nasdaq's website. There was an entire article about it. It was titled "Why I Don't Feel Bad for Hex Investors," and I guess the thumbnail was Richard Hart twerking
I was
in
gonna
his
say
Louis
that's probably
Vuitton
the thumbnail.
jacket. Yeah. Um, I'll pull it up here, but it reminds me sort of like what you were saying, like it's a story, right? Like it'll be funny if like we're streaming here now, everything's documented. RHMax, your entire stories, like you've documented like your journey on PulseChain and like helping everyone else, like building products, everything, right? It'll be cool. Like we share the Nasdaq's take on why I don't feel bad for hex investors, but if it actually does work out, um, I think that is the cool story, right? Like that is, I think Westcott also he had I don't know if it was a quote, maybe I'll quote Westcott on it, but he was saying when my kids ask me like dad, how did you get so rich? He's gonna show them this video in 2024, and it's him doing his streaming thing, talking about like at the bottom, right? Like make sure to get into Pulse Chain, right? Pulse Chain is going to be the next best thing. And I think there's still people who are convicted, man. Like even bigger guys like Dollar Cost Crypto. Like he hasn't left the Pulse Chain system. None of these guys, I don't think, have left the
Crypto
Pulse
coffee.
Chain system. Crypto Coffee still there, right? These guys like big channels, right? Like 30K plus, I think, on some of them now, which is congratulations, definitely. Like that is getting big now, and I think in the bull market, like their reach is going to be huge, but it all comes down to the green candles. It's not helping that we're having the the FUD articles posted about us, but I think the same thing
I'm used to
happened
it.
to sorry?
I said I'm used to it. I'm like
Yeah.
par for course.
Yeah. The same thing happened to Hex when it was at its lows as well. I sent you the article on Twitter, and I'll pull it up on stream as well.
Okay. Real quick too. Sorry, I've had this question up for a while. C-HUD, thanks for all your work. If you had 50K to deploy on a expected bet, how would you deploy? Dollar cost average, up or down, or what? You guys want to quickly take that? Any thoughts?
I
It doesn't have
mean,
to be a specific coin. It could just be like deploying 50K in general, or however you want to go for it.
well, if we're talking about Pulse Chain, I'd buy I'd buy some Pulse and PulseX and stick them in the farms and earn yield. You know, because where else are you going to earn any yield in your money at the moment? Any value to other tools are out there. I mean, why not? I mean, if this is the play and we're talking about Pulse Chain, this is the context. That's the best do. I mean, I sure wouldn't drop $50,000 on a meme coin. I'd be scared to death. I mean, you know. So I mean, just to be smart about it. Then you can use Omnis to ratio trade it back and forth and just grow your bags the whole way. It's another option, and you're not losing anything then. So you're just increasing your coin count. So that's a simple. We have simple solutions for people with capital to increase their capital. I can't help the dollar price, but I can increase your coin count with very simple tools.
I think my take on Cheese question would be like it's definitely a more nuanced answer. Like I don't like not my answer is not financial advice or anything, but like I think it's definitely more nuanced. Like it depends like what you already have. Like if you already have tons of ETH and tons of Bitcoin and tons of Solana and tons of this and tons of that and tons of this, then I would get some Pulse Chain and stuff like that, right? If you don't have any, but at the same time, if you don't have absolutely anything, just getting into like regular cryptos like Bitcoin, Ethereum, Pulse Chain, PulseX, even some of the other layer ones that are around, and just like building a decently balanced portfolio around that isn't a bad idea. But I think it's a little more. I think it's a little more nuanced. It requires like more like background detail to like know to know like what you want to do and like how or what you want to like max if you want to maximize like your value or not, or if you want like less risky, more risky. So I would definitely what I would do is think for yourself and do more research and come to your own conclusions and stuff like that, and like take what we're saying into consideration, but come to your own conclusions and like figure out like what like works best for you. And I think I just recommend being balanced is all. Like I just recommend the balance. So
Con, we got like 5 minutes left. Can we do this article justice, or some version of it?
shall we?
Let's do it.
So yeah, I haven't gone through this whole thing because I don't have the I don't think I have the bandwidth for it anymore. But this is on Nasdaq's website for some reason. CoinDesk article, cryptocurrencies, why I don't feel bad for Richard Hart victims, and it's of course him twerking in front of a flamingo. Couldn't have gotten a better photo than that. But
He's got a few good photos like that.
he's got a couple. I wish they had the ones we was carrying all like the Louis bags out the store.
Oh man, I mean, there's they got the strip, they got the pole, they got the
Oh yeah,
I did that's the Red Bull with the feed or something like that. Anyways,
they
distracted.
could have done a collage of photos that like really.
You know, he
Anyways,
used to be funnier.
Yeah, I don't know. Out of context, like it's not. It's questionable. So, but yeah, it goes ahead and it says like talks about like I guess the SEC filed civil charges against Richard Hart. I don't know if that's exactly true. If I fact check this, it's probably a bit more nuanced than filing civil charges against RH. But maybe that is what it is. Born Richard Schuler, I think that's true. The founder of and relentless promoter of Hex, PulseChain, and PulseX. I don't think I'm gonna read through this whole thing, but we'll get through some of like the headlines and stuff. Like Richard Hart flushed your money and it all went down. So recycled investors' funds between 2019 and 2020. The flush address, yeah. Where did the ETH go? I think they're still mad about that.
There's a coin about that too, I think.
There is a coin about that. Apparently, the SEC, according to this article, Hart moves funds to a centralized exchange through a series of. So they're saying like he like. This is what they're saying. Like he like sent the money to a bunch of addresses and then sent those monies to exchanges and then it like extracted all the value. But I don't know if that's true or not. Max, is that true?
I have not. It's like I've heard all these stories, and they're all just like these simplified versions of these things that happened years ago. So I think
it's incredibly more nuanced.
Billionaire, I think if a multimillionaire or billionaire wanted to extract money from a community, he would do it a lot quicker than the last 5 years, and just be around and be under pressure, being sued and all that stuff. Like the whole narrative doesn't even make any sense. So I have no idea what the details are. Or even close to be factually correct, but I see the entire narrative of this article as let's just say a bunch of stuff that may or may not be anywhere near the realm of true, and then let's add this narrative of the price is down and this is why, because guy took money. So that's my take.
Even this next sentence is quite funny because it says he moved the funds to a centralized exchange by obscuring the transactions, which I don't know how well you can obscure transactions on a blockchain, but apparently he sent the money back to the contract address and disguised the money from new investors or as new investors. I don't think so. I think there was nuances where like there was some sort of peg trying to be kept, and I don't even think this is exactly what it is. But I think there was like some sort of peg between the market and the AA and keeping them non-arbitrageable, essentially. And I think it's more nuanced than that. I think that's like base level stuff, but I actually don't think this is true. But this means that investment in the Hex project was far lower than it appeared. So the equivalent of 678 million worth of ETH at the time. They're saying only 34 million of it was in real investors' funds. So apparently you must have funneled the same money 20 times over in order to get. I don't know how you get this much worth of ETH, but only have $34 million worth. It sounds like he's creating money out of thin air a little bit, but maybe I'm missing something. But yeah, don't fake the stake. The SEC is understandably Number go up is not a business model. I don't
Who
know.
takes the time to write this stuff?
I mean, I guess this guy is on NASDAQ. Isn't that the whole point of NASDAQ? Number go up? I mean, come on.
I thought that was half the point.
I mean,
At
like
least half the
that is the point of all speculative investments is number go up. This guy's a moron.
No, but I think that was one of the things that RH loved preaching was like the only thing that people care about is number go up, and I think that is literally the only thing that people care about is the number going up. So I think number go up could, like, if the number is actually going up, then like it's not bad. So
Number went down for a while. What are we gonna do?
Who knows? We'll have to post FUD articles on NASDAQ.
How do we sign up for NASDAQ? Yeah, I think this is like literally all these articles. You could take any crypto out there and take a point in time where they weren't doing well, or the cycle, or their founder. I mean, Vitalik, they were trying to say that Ethereum ICO was security. I think they were trying to say stuff like that before. You could literally take this and apply this to any other person, but RH just happens to have some like funny pictures where he twerked and otherwise. So they're like, hey, easy target. Let's write out about this guy. People will click on it. Look, there's a whole community who will read it and otherwise get clicks. I imagine if they looked at the clicks of all the projects they write about, probably the Hex and PulseChain get a lot of the clicks, and they're like, and so just this incentive of just keep writing articles. So,
I think that is a perfect incentive.
Marketing is
right?
not advanced.
That's good.
That's true. Good. All right, that was. I think that's all we got time for today. But I did not know that article existed, so thanks for sharing that. It's so fun. I can't wait till if we do get if and when we are so fortunate to get that 100,000, 10,000x, whatever your dream is. We'll have 10 times more articles that are like about people changing their lives again, like Hex did, and buying, living their dreams, and all their delayed gratification came true. I'm looking forward to those articles if and when we're so lucky to get them. So, anyways, gents, we didn't get to talk about iBurn. I wanted to talk about that too, but on time today. We'll come back on another time though. But gents, any final words? What do you guys want to take us out on? Don't jump all at once.
I think just Richard Hart was right. And just
I've been trying to get the hashtag Richard Hart will be right again. I've been trying to let's get that going. He'll be right again. May not feel like it right now, but I'm with you with that.
Or make RH right again or something like that.
I like it. Make RH right again.
That's good.
Yeah, but I want to thank you for having me on, Max. I enjoyed it. We're still working hard at Tetra, trying to get our Omnis stuff finished up. We have our Teller fork in a couple weeks to be out, ready for people, and it's going to start with the builders and stuff to get that out, the Oracle service, so we can have more projects to launch. And TrueDeFi has got we're doing our testing right now for a private test for our product. So that's coming out, and I'm on the team over there too, so I'm kind of doing double duty here, wearing a couple hats, but. So we soon you will double your pulse on PulseChain. Can't get much better than that. No token to sell, no sacrifice. So we're doing the best we can to provide quality tools and services for the users of PulseChain.
Awesome. And so CryptoKong is it CryptoKong? What's your handle on Twitter?
CryptoKong. Yeah, CryptoKong 145.
145.
On YouTube, Twitter. Again, thanks for having us on, Max. It was great talking to you, Neil. Great talking to you, Max.
Hey, man.
Awesome. I think it was an awesome stream. So, like always.
Yep. And I tagged these guys in the description as well. Check out their channels. Check out their Twitter. All their content. A lot of good stuff. And without further ado, that's all we got for you today. Scivive 5555, and have a great weekend.
All right.